Well, I was going to say good morning, Pete, but it's not for you, is it? Tell us where you are.
I'm based in Belgium here, Central Europe. So for me, it's like middle of the afternoon.
Middle of the afternoon. Full disclosure, I'm interviewing Piet Grymonprez. Is that how I spell it? Yeah,
Yeah, perfect,
Piet
perfect.
Grymonprez,
Thanks.
and we've known each other for, well, I can't remember. I think it's probably a dozen years we've been sort
Yeah.
of in contact.
Yeah.
And Pete, Pete has an amazing story. It's called My Machine. Can you give us like maybe start off with the elevator speed? What is My Machine, Pete?
Well, it's a three-step methodology. Step one is we ask children in primary class if we could build a dream machine for you, what would that machine be? Anything goes as long as they really want it. Step number two,
Yeah.
university students help design that into a concept. And in step number three, vocational or technical secondary level students help build it as a working prototype. So in one academic year, in one school year, we go from idea to concept to working prototype. And we do this with lots of schools at the same time.
This is brilliant. I got first question is how old are the children involved in this?
Well, so the primary school children is it's we work with all grades. So we love
Oh,
to
okay.
have children who are 6 years old or 7 or 8 or up until 11 or 12. In some countries, primary schools are until the age of 14. So as long as they're in primary school, we're okay with that. And we love the different age groups
Yeah,
because they have different kind of ideas and different kind of dream machines. And that's also brilliant to see.
absolutely. So am I correct in thinking that who is it that asks is it the teacher that asks them to come up with with a concept of a machine that would be helpful to them?
Well, great question. It's My Machine truly is a co-creation. It's a collaboration of students of different age group, as I explained. And
Yeah.
so they meet each other and they meet each other in person. So what happens is that the university students, they go in the primary class to be there and assist the ideation, to understand their customer. And what is the customer, which is a primary school child, what is the customer actually asking for? And also to understand the why. Why is this being invented by this boy or girl? So what's the story behind it, which is important for them to understand before they start conceptualizing it.
Yeah, that is magic, isn't it? It's sort of I'm just thinking of the process. It's sort of a manifestation of imagination, creativity, and innovation, that process through, right?
Indeed,
Yeah.
it really is about showing the power of ideas
Yeah.
and also showing them how you can actually bring an idea to life.
Before we go any further into the theory, can you give us an example of one of these
Oh,
projects?
sure, sure. Um, there's been thousands and thousands of dream machine invented. Examples are like the homework making machine. We've noticed that there's not a lot of children that love to do homework for school, so they want a machine to do it for them,
Yeah.
or a machine to make friends, or a machine to solve quarrels, or a machine to clean up the oceans, or it would be a machine to help clean up the umbrella of their grandparent. Um,
Yeah.
or
Amazing.
it's really, some children use the opportunity to invent something fun.
Yeah.
Others use the opportunity to invent something that could help some of their family members, could be a parent, could be
Yeah.
a grandparent, a brother, a sister, or it could be some children invent something that could help their community in the city where they live in, and
Yeah.
even other children use the opportunity to come up with an idea to tackle one of the United Nations development goals. So but no
Okay.
matter
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
no matter the scope, it could be super personal or it could be really global.
Yeah.
Everything's okay because that's one of the typical things of My Machine is that it is open-ended.
Yeah.
We do not run My Machine in a certain theme because otherwise it would again be us, the adults, saying to the children what we think is important instead of listening to the children what they feel is important at that specific moment in time.
Now, listen, I've come equipped with a prop. This is going to bring back a memory for you. Look what I've got right here. Tell us the story. By the way, I have three grandchildren, and I've forgotten the name of this fellow now. It's the
Called My Boo.
My Boo. That's right. And I'm going to tell you, My Boo has been played with a lot by those three granddaughters over the years. Magical. Can you tell us the story of My Boo?
Yeah, so this was invented by 6-year-old children, so first grade. It was invented actually in Belgium, so a primary school in Belgium.
Yeah,
6 years old, and they said our dream machine is a machine to chase the evil ghosts from under our bed.
yeah,
And so what was an important feature for them was that it's not just it doesn't just chase evil ghosts. It also has to make friends with good ghosts because the good ghosts need to stay and protect them during the night. And so this is exactly what my boo does. It gives it changes color, and as it changes color, first of all, it's like it scans the room and then it changes color because after scanning the room, it knows like these evil ghosts are gone. So it's a color for chasing the evil ghost, and then it changes color again to make friends with good ghosts, and then it says it changes color again to say to the child, you can go to sleep safe and sound now because everything's clear in your room.
yeah. I think it's I'm just trying to project myself into the space where the design student is getting inside the head of the kid who came up with this, right? A great example of how they needed to understand exactly what the child is looking for.
Yeah, and
Do you,
and
do you have any videos of some examples so people can
sure,
actually see?
sure. So I'll share my screen.
Yeah,
You should be seeing
yeah,
our YouTube channel.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So uh, maybe I'm gonna turn down the volume of the videos if that's okay, and I'll just
Sure.
talk about what we see here.
Okay.
So this is here um, you see the university students, and they designed a rotating bunk bed because we've discovered that this is a worldwide problem, that if children see a bunk bed, immediately there's discussion because they all of them want to sleep on top. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
these children, they were 11 years old. And so here they are, primary school children, they were 11 years old, and they invented a rotating bunk bed to deal with that worldwide problem and solve it, which is a brilliant idea.
It is.
And so you can also put it on hold. And if you put it on hold like this, it means that you can talk to each other. And if you put it on hold like that, it means that you don't want to talk to each other. Um, anymore. So that's an example, a great
Yeah.
one. So this is the helmet.
Yeah.
You put it on your head, and the screen shows what the person is thinking, who's putting it on, who's putting it on. So the dream machine was to understand and to be able to understand what other people are thinking. And
Wow.
so it was invented in Portugal, and so it says I'm thinking about an airplane in this case, or about flying.
Yeah. Yeah.
My boo, you
Yeah.
showed it.
There we are.
There you are. Maybe I can show the changing of the colors.
Yeah. That's
So
magic.
it changes from red to blue to green to say, okay, your room is safe, and then it turns white
Yeah.
as it can accompany, as it can, as a so that the child can go to sleep safe and sound. Um, this is, for example, also a great dream machine, which was which was translated, but we can talk about that later on as well, which was actually translated in sort of like a piece of art.
Okay.
So it was this dream machine was the idea from the children was that they wanted a machine that turns uh, a robot into a car, and a car can go back to a robot. And so it's been produced as like sort of like metal plates,
Yeah.
and you see them turning. And so each single line here turns, and as it turns, it becomes either a car or it becomes either a robot. And so so it's like a piece of art,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a living statue,
Yeah.
uh, which was also a great idea, I thought. Um,
Wow.
This is also a very popular machine here in schools. Um, this is an example of MyMachine in Belgium.
Okay.
So a primary school in Belgium, I'm not sure how it works in different countries, but in Belgium, typically, um, there's a school bell ringing, and that's when the children need to line up
Yes.
and be ready to be,
Yeah.
to go together into the class. Um, and so when they have to line up, they need to be silent. They're not allowed to talk anymore. So it's like really strange,
Okay.
like, you know.
Yeah.
And so these children here, they said, when we line up to go into class, we'd love to still be able to talk to each other without the teacher knowing that we're talking.
Yeah.
Because if the teacher knows, we'll get,
Yeah.
we'll be in
Trouble. Yeah.
trouble. And so this machine just helps them as they as they are in line to talk with each other up, and it's a big machine, and it's like it's lovely. But you can see
Yeah.
they can talk through the tubes, and
Yes.
as they talk through the tubes, they can choose who, if they want to talk to the kid who's like 3 or 4 positions down the line, they can choose who to talk to,
Yeah. Wow.
and so yeah. I
That's
love that
amazing.
example because it very much reflects what their it
Yeah.
very much reflects like what's in their life at that specific moment
Yeah.
in time,
What
you know.
matters to them? Yeah.
Yeah. And this is also a great one. Um, this is children that wanted a different alarm clock in the morning. So they were fed up with the dreadful noise of the alarm clock.
Yeah.
And so they created this bed. It looks a bit like a bunk bed, but actually it's not a bunk bed. You sleep on top and you set your alarm. And when the alarm goes up, the bed actually falls down. And so you tumble down from the top part to the basement of the bed. Let me show you how it looks.
How?
So the alarm goes off.
That's
So
that is outrageous. Oh my
so
God.
you're absolutely awake. There's no more excuse of being late in school.
Oh my gosh. They must have a lot of fun doing this.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get inside. I'd love to see it in action, these design students sitting next to these kids.
Yeah.
It must be a lot
Maybe.
of fun. It also must be it's a powerful learning experience. See, talk a little bit about the impact on, well, let's start with the youngsters. What's the impact on them? There
Yeah,
you go.
sorry. So yeah, the learning experience is some of it is different per age group, and some of it is the same for all the age groups that are involved.
Yeah.
So let's start with the thing that is the same for all the age groups that are involved. They learn, so young people in MyMachine, and I mean by that primary school children, secondary level students, and the university students, all of them learn that having ideas is important and it's fun, that you should never be afraid to share your idea, even if your idea sounds a bit challenging or even a bit crazy or even impossible to somebody else. Don't be afraid to share it. And we show them that you can actually bring any idea to life. And
Yeah.
how can you do that? By being entrepreneurial, by being creative, by being persistent and resilient, by collaborating and respecting each other's talents. And that's an important life skill, because no matter where life will take them,
Yeah.
whether they want to become a dancer, photographer, an
Yeah.
architect, an engineer, a startup company, or collaborate, start working for an existing organization, it all starts with having this creative confidence
Yeah.
that your ideas matter, that your ideas actually could have the potential to make a difference.
Absolutely.
And this is important because as we grow up, we adults become experts in boycotting our own ideas
Ab
and the ideas of others.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're going to say, oh, this is not going to work. We don't have the budget. Maybe there's a legislation issue.
Yeah.
There's the deadlines, or there's no customers waiting for that. There's always something. And so what happens is, if you have this um, if you have this experience a couple of times in your life where your ideas get cut off right away
Yeah.
after expressing them, then most of us turn silent
We
because
shut down. Yeah,
we just shut down and we
yeah,
just say, you know what, I'll just shut up because I don't want to be labeled like Pete, that's the guy with all those stupid ideas. And so this is a context in which a lot of organizations and a lot of companies and humanity as a whole is losing avenues of potential great ideas because people are being, shut themselves up
yeah,
because of the boycotting of the ideas. And so primary school children, for them, it's important for them to know that their ideas matter. And obviously, some critics might say, why would we spend time and energy in building a chase the evil ghost machine? Because ghosts don't exist. Shouldn't we just say to that child, it's a stupid idea, give us another idea? And then we say, obviously, no, we respect those ideas of the young children. And
brilliant.
obviously, we know the young children, um, maybe their ideas at that specific moment in time are a little bit, how would you say, childish. If you consider those ideas, we don't, but if you would consider those ideas childish, then we say, well, wait until they're a little bit older. As they mature, their ideas would also mature and become, different ideas that perhaps
Yeah,
indeed could tackle a United Nations Development Goal, or could indeed be the start of a new company, or could indeed be the start of a great career as a dancer or a musician or an architect. Um, and so it's important for them to understand at a young age that their ideas matter because that is building their creative confidence and it's showing them that you can actually bring any idea to life. University students, they get to see that pure creativity which exists inside primary school young children and we've all been young and we've all been, as I said, as I love to state, is that we as we grow up and especially as adults, we tend to be limit ourselves because of our knowledge, because of the limitations of our knowledge, but we're not always aware of it. Because we might think, I have an idea to do something, but it's probably going to be impossible. And it's probably because we think we lack all of the competences that you need to
yeah,
actually bring an idea to life. And then we think, okay, it's not going to be possible. But maybe for somebody else, that same idea might be something pretty easy to, to work on and to elaborate and to bring to life. And so um, seeing those young children as the university students, getting in touch with those clients is reminding ourselves, reminding themselves to try to connect to that 6-year-old self, their own 6-year-old self again, as if they were that 6-year-old child or 7-year-old child or 8-year-old child, and try to understand where where's that child gone?
yeah, yeah,
Where is it? And is it still alive? And what is that child dreaming of?
yeah.
And where am I at my specific point in my life? And as they are a university student, they also understand that they can have such an important role in that young child,
Yeah.
which is their customer, in showing them how to bring it to life and helping them. Because for the young children, typically this would be, let's say, probably the first time that you could compare the university students to their older brother or
Yes,
older sister.
absolutely.
It
Yeah,
would be finally that this older sister or older brother is taking my ideas seriously for the finally.
absolutely. Yeah, and
And
I'm
so
sure
the
there are many stories I'm imagining where that mentorship has sort of solidified, and there's been a bonding taking place between
yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly. And the primary school children are brutally honest.
Yes,
So they are a customer. You can, as a university student, you can learn so much from a brutally honest customer.
absolutely.
And so they're very demanding, but at the same time, they are very rewarding. At the same time, they are very super happy when the dream machine is being produced. Obviously, they know because I talked about it. It's co-creation. It's not only university students go into the primary class, but the primary class is also visiting the university to give feedback on the concept
Oh
that is
wow,
being designed.
wow.
The
Yeah,
primary class is also visiting the vocational technical secondary school where it's built and they help building it. And so they do under they do know, they do
yeah.
see their
They
dream
see it.
machine
Yeah,
being conceived from the
Yeah.
idea up into the concept and to the working prototype. And I wanted to finish off by saying that the vocational technical secondary students, they also learn how valuable their talents and know-how is in producing a working prototype. Because I would say in probably something like 95% at least of the cases,
Yeah.
the vocational secondary school students can improve the
Uh-huh.
design by the university students. They can improve it, saying like, yeah, let's do this differently, because if we do this
Yeah.
detail differently, then the production is going to be so much easier, and an easier production makes it also cheaper. So they understand that they are a super valuable um, piece of the value chain
Yeah.
that goes from idea to concept to working prototype.
Oh, that's just that's a brilliant summation of the journey. I was going to ask you about the vocational school because the vocational students, I just imagine they're sitting there and they're presented with these some of that. They must just shake their heads at some of the ideas, and what a joyful experience that is as they try to get their head around how the hell do I bring that to life?
Yeah, well, and that kind of feeling also occurs in first of all with the university students,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
typically the first thing university students do is when they hear about the dream machines is they panic because they are like, what do you mean? I need to build a jump to the moon machine,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I have to build a, and they panic. And what in my machine, what we do is we challenge the university students also to come up with at least five different concepts for
Okay.
that specific idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they need to come up with five different concepts. And let me give you an example for
Yeah.
what it means in real life of my machine. Um, there were this class, and their dream machine was a machine to put the peanut butter on the sandwich automatically in the morning. So, we challenge university students. University
Oh my.
students, for example, they come up with the first concept was um, let's produce a robotic hand that simulates the movement of a human hand, taking the knife, putting it into the jar, and then
Yeah.
spreading it on the sandwich. Okay, so concept number one. Concept number two was let's produce a knife where the handle of the knife is a small container. Inside that container is a peanut butter, and you just have to push a button. And when you push a button, the peanut butter is like squeezed out of the handle
Yes.
onto the sandwich. Concept number three was what if we produce something that looks like a toothpaste tube? But it's not toothpaste, it's the peanut butter, and so children could squeeze it onto their sandwich.
Yeah.
And so those are just three examples of a concept. And so the first concept is robotics.
Yeah.
You can do it. It sounds complicated and it sounds expensive. The second concept is more like simple mechanics. And the third concept, dependent on which material you would use to produce those toothpaste tubes, if you use plastics or for example industrial textile, it would be about that. And so we discussed together with the university students which one of those different concepts they would be the best concept to put into step number three, the production phase of my machine, taking into account the available production facility, meaning the vocational school. Because in some cases, it's a vocational school that joins with the 14-year-olds in the wood department.
Yeah.
And in another case, it would be a vocational school joining with the 17-year-olds in the electronics department. And so if you know it's just for the woodworking department, then you know you cannot put some electronics in it. So the concept then needs to be produced in wood and
Yeah.
so on. So that's a challenge, and we challenge the university students by asking them to produce at least five different concepts, and together we discuss. And so, indeed, vocational secondary students also at first say like, "Whoa, we need to build this,"
Yeah.
but we help them in getting there. um, um, and it's the context of my machine that actually shows all the students involved like, okay, we're in it together. And
Yeah.
if there is some kind of a challenge or an issue, we're in it together to try to find a solution, because my machine always delivers. We do
Yeah.
not go we do not go back to the primary school children saying like we tried and it did and we failed. We go back and he said we tried, we failed, we redesigned, tried again, failed, redesigned, tried again, and it worked, and now we're here, and this is a working prototype.
Magic. This is just amazing. Pete, the traditional education system has got a lot of thinking to do. It needs to be reimagined. So I'm going to ask this question. If you had a magic wand and you were given the authority to um, to recreate the learning culture within classrooms around the world. Well, think of classrooms as communities. I think classrooms are going to be a thing of the past. Um, what would be some of your foundational imperatives that would underpin and grow that brilliance that lies in everybody? How do we reshape our learning environments?
Okay, from my perspective, sorry, from my perspective, I would say there's two elements. Um, but before I go into that, I want to share the experience that we've had so far. MyMachine, we started off in Belgium, but we're now collaborating, around the world. We are in 15 countries,
Wow.
on 4 continents so far.
Yeah.
And so we've been in touch with the educational system and schools in different countries. And what I've seen is that changing an education system is not an easy thing to do. And the reason I think is because everything we've learned from Cirque and Robinson, but also there's so many stakeholders involved. Typically the government is involved. There's, parents are involved, teachers are involved, obviously students. So there's a lot of stakeholders, and it's not easy. We also see that there are new schools being created,
Yeah.
doing education totally different.
That's right.
And I've been fortunate to visit some of them, and they are brilliant. But then again, if you look at the vast majority of students around the world, unfortunately, the vast majority of students around the world are still in this very traditional educational
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
And so I would say the reality probably is that you cannot change a system overnight. Uh, and that's why my answer to your question would be is I would say two things. One is to bring purpose to class. Because for what I mean by that is we created MyMachine and we said at the very beginning, we do not want MyMachine to be an out of school program. We want it to be inside the schools,
Yeah.
inside the system, to show the system what the power of what we call project-based learning.
Yeah.
And I think that's bringing purpose to education. And it refers a bit to my own young self. I had a lot of mathematics in my education, from primary to into secondary into higher education, and unfortunately, I never had any mathematics teacher explaining to me or to us what was it for. you
Absolutely.
know, what is it
Absolutely.
for? When do I need all this? What's the purpose of it? And so this is what we're trying to do with MyMachine is that we're bringing purpose into the class, which means, when we're creating a rotating bunk bed, as you've seen, at some point, you'll have to start explaining, okay, these were 11-year-old kids. So it means that you'll have to start thinking together with them. An 11-year-old child typically weighs how many kilograms? If you need to put a child into a rotating bunk bed, all of a sudden you're talking about the power that is needed to actually rotate
Yeah.
that kind amount of kilograms around. So what kind of engine do you need? What
Yeah.
is the engine power that you need to be able to do to overcome that leverage and to create that leverage and so on? And so all of a sudden, and in which material are we going to build
Yes.
that? Is it going to
Yes.
be metal? Is it going to be aluminum? Is it going to be
Mhm.
wood? What are the pros and cons of it? So all of a sudden you're talking materials, you're talking energy power, you're talking about how strong the engine should be, you're talking about how many, and all of a sudden it brings purpose. And we also see actually teachers connecting different courses to the My Machine
Yeah. Yeah.
assignment, for example, where
Mhm.
kids need to learn to write a letter. These days it's how to write an email. And then the teacher says, well, if you want to learn how to write an email, let's write an email to My Machine and to the organization. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
all of a sudden then we get lots of emails, we answer all of them. But it's great how they attach also different courses to the My Machine assignment. It's
Yeah.
bringing purpose. And I think that is so important, because I think the moment that students understand what it is for,
Yeah.
that's the day in their lives when they get a totally different view on why they are at school and why they have to learn all that. And the second thing I would love to state is that if possible, um, to make it as personalized as possible. What My Machine is doing is bringing purpose to building a dream machine, but it's not something invented by an adult somewhere. Um, it's not invented by the teacher. It's not in a school book. So it's some kind of adult somewhere in a school book company that created an example, and the children just need to repeat the example. No, it's not. They created it. It's their rotating bunk bed. It's their idea. So it's super personal. And the moment it
Absolutely.
becomes
Very
personal,
powerful. Yeah.
it becomes so much more, there's so much more empowerment in there, and it brings back absolute wonder uh, into the classroom. And so an ideal system would be for me where where purpose of education is being shown very clearly and as personalized as possible. And perhaps in the age of AI and all of that technology, personalized education might become what might become a very potential, and at the same time we don't want kids to have enough screen time. So it's finding that balance between not getting them too much in front of computer screens, but at the same time I think the technology is a possibility to personalize education.
Well, what a great place to end. Piet, this has just been a real pleasure reconnecting and hearing your thoughts, magical thoughts, I have to say, and giving us those brilliant examples. Um, let's do this again sometime and catch up soon.
Yeah, that would be super great.
Thank you so much, Piet.
Thank you, Peter, for the opportunity for being with you, and thank you so much for what you're doing for education and showing all those great examples worldwide, which is so important for people working in education.
Thank you.